Hey everyone, it's Leanne, and in my living room once again. And of course, now he starts whistling. So this is going to be super quick, but I just want to tell you about something really interesting that happened to me today. Actually, I thought it was really cool. And I just recently, I don't know, I'm working with, I guess, with the power of love, but not just love as a generic term, but love as something that I don't know, maybe is shared among a lot of people. Maybe I don't really know how to describe it at this moment. But I read a book by Cornelian Sage. You can actually read a lot of my my review of the book in my previous blog post. And he talks about basically what is the missing principle in the law of attraction, which he says is this feeling of love, of unconditional love. And he connects love to being somewhat connected to God, where everybody is connected to God or to a higher spirit. He calls it God. And in that way, when you connect to that, when you have this love for other people, then the law of attraction works for you. Well, I thought that was quite interesting because I've also been working on getting that feeling of what this other guy, Lefko, calls the creator space, which is kind of the same thing. It's the space inside you that makes you realize that you're the person that creates the beliefs that run your life, that cause the beliefs that cause your thoughts and your feelings and your actions. And so actually you're not this creation that maybe suffers through things and has upsets and bad moments and good moments, but you're really the creator that makes that happen. And so you as a person might have limitations, but as a creator, there are no limitations. And I'll talk more about that because that's really what I'm going to focus on in this entire video challenge. You know, we're only on day 2. But what's interesting is my wife and I were watching a movie called Hungry for Change, and it's a Food Matters film, and we've been watching a lot of those lately because health is important, and you know we've been struggling with things like losing weight and eating healthier. And now that I have my son, I want to set a really good example for him as well. And so what's interesting is the first time I watched this movie, I didn't catch this, and now that I've read Cornelian Sage, and now that I've been studying the Lefko method. Um, I realized that at the end they talk about how much love has to do with health and with weight loss. And it's so interesting. I'm hearing all these accounts from everywhere, you know, doctors telling people they love them and that helps them to get rid of cancer and other diseases. And just the person loving themselves is the basis for change to happen. And so anyway, with all of this stuff working, I'm working on something every day called Getting in the Creator Space, which again is that space where you kind of sense that anything is possible. And one of the things that I'm doing is imagining other people in that space, because really if I'm there, then everyone else, whether they know it or not, is there. And so I've been practicing this thing, and it's kind of a way to reach a feeling of unconditional love. And so I went with my wife to church. My wife goes to church. We have a church here in Hayward that, you know, sometimes, once in a while I go with her. She likes to take my son too. And, or our son, I guess I should say. And anyway, so we went today, and I was practicing this in church, you know, as everyone was praying. I'm actually not religious at all. So for me, church is just, you know, I mean, I feel comfortable there, and I like to be spiritual, but it's not a religious thing for me. So you know, I'm sitting there or standing in church, depending on what they're doing up front, and doing this exercise, and it just feels good to accept people in such a deep way. And this is the interesting thing that I wanted to tell you about is that I had to nurse my son because he was getting tired and hungry and cranky. And so I stepped outside to kind of like the entrance area of the church. And I sat there and I nursed him. And luckily, not too many people were passing by because he gets really distracted for some reason. But anyway, he finished. He was really fussy and tired, and I was trying to get him to sleep. And these 2 homeless guys walk in. You know, obviously homeless guys. How did I know they were homeless? They just, I guess, I had clues. I don't know. Their possessions, their clothes, their kind of their smell, the way they looked. And one of the homeless guys put his hat and something else next to me. I don't know what the other thing was on the bench. And the other guy looked, he saw I was there, and so he walked off in another direction. He didn't even come to me. Why? Because most people don't want to be associated with homeless people, don't want to be next to them. And in fact, I would be like the first person out of anyone to get up and get out of that situation. Like, oh, there's somebody homeless. And the first thing that I used to think all the time is, oh my God, he's dirty? Is he going to talk to me? Is he going to like, touch me? And all these like fears that I had. And because I was practicing this idea of being in a creator space and that everyone was there, instead of that, I had this feeling like this guy was, if you think of us as the ocean, right? As people, as creators, we're the ocean, and we're all waves. And for whatever's happening on the surface is causing the wave either to be higher or lower, or some waves have seaweed floating in them, and whatever else is going on. And some waves have a lot of dirt and sand, and some waves are, really big and clear. And whatever it is, we're all the ocean, right? And so I had this feeling like this guy was in the same place, and all of a sudden, not only did I not mind talking to him when he approached me and started talking, I actually just listened, and I just had this feeling like he's the same as me. On the surface, we're playing this other character and different experiences and ages and whatever, but on the inside, we're really the same. We're coming from the same space of creating our lives. And so I started having a conversation with him, and we had a really interesting conversation. I mean, about his life, and we went back and forth. And then finally, my wife stepped out, and she's like, "Hey, can you guys come back in here?" And so I said bye, and I even shook his hand. And I just felt amazed. I told my wife later, like, "Are you proud of me?" Because I just talked to this guy, and I didn't feel scared. I didn't run away from it. And I don't know what this means to you, but to me it opens up so many possibilities and gets rid of so much fear in my life. And so anyway, I meant for this to be like a 2-minute video, but I guess it's a little bit longer. This what I'm going to be talking to you about is not only that, but the idea of getting rid of a lot of fears that you have that are keeping you from moving forward and keeping you from connecting with others, just like I had before, and just give you the ability to have incredible experiences like that. And maybe you're not a person like me, maybe you never had that feeling, but you've got something else going on that's similar, that's keeping you from something in your life, a fear that's holding you back from something. Maybe you don't even know what it is. So we're going to work on that over the next 90 days or so in this challenge. And anyway, if you have any comments, questions, there's a box down below. I'd love to see your comments and questions. And come back tomorrow for the next installment. I'll see you then.